Uh, 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 here we go, here we go, here we go. Welcome to the show, Monica Mo, justice in the mix. Bringing truth with no tricks. Mama Mo, here we go. Welcome to the show, Monica Mo, justice in the mix. Bringing truth with no tricks. Saturdays our day to shine. Focus on books and storylines. Courtroom drama commentary. Keeping it real, never scary. Mo justice dropping wisdom. Weekend vibes, you can't miss them. Open your mind, let the truth be told. From the cases big to the bold. Deep dive into legal scenes. Breaking down what justice means. Analyzing every clue we find. No stone left unturned, no mind left blind.
Okay, good afternoon. What's up, Becky? What's up, Becky? I'm missing you. Good afternoon, and welcome to Mo Knows, featuring me, Mo, Monica Mo Justice. Let me check my sound. Let me see if I'm low. No, I sound good. Hit the like before you take a hike. Okay. what's cooking? All right. So, I got to continue, I got to continue being creative. So, I am opening up a new series and it's called Thursday's Trial Tea. And in that so let me just give you the parameters. That will go live on Thursdays between the lunch hour. It's gonna replace my old chat and chew section. Um, so it's gonna replace my old chat and chew session, and it'll be on Thursdays. And I'll just give a wide view of different court cases that are out here. So that will also be on days when other people are streaming. When I say other people, I mean like maybe there'll be a trial on. So I might give or take a couple of minutes, but it'll be in between the lunch hour. So my lunch hour, just so that you know, is between 12 and 2. What you gonna do? Bad girl, what you gonna do when they come for you? So all right. Well, you take your time. I ain't gonna be here for long. I just wanted to kick that out. Um, because I definitely believe in striking a theme and going from a theme and let everybody know what the theme is, and then they'll understand, why we do the things we do when we do the things that we do. Um, and it helps the kleptos. Um, it helps them in their day to days, in their day to day stealings. Okay, so let me just take a moment to inhale that future and exhale that past. Just gonna remind y'all that y'all should be doing that, because when you don't see me, that means I'm working on some hard things. So this week starts the trial of Georgia v. Johnson. Johnson is the district attorney who I don't know if she was actually handling the Ahmaud Arbery case, but she was definitely the district attorney that gave some feedback into how they should or should not proceed with that case as it relates to the McMichaels. Ooh, I remember when I used to call them the McF-ups, right? The father and son team, right? So, Yeah, not lunch is from noon to 2. But let me just break that out because you know there's some ear hustlers around here, so I want them to understand that when you live in a work from home environment, now watch them go biting and try to tell people how work from home works. You start off sometime in the morning. So what I do is I put in 4 hours in the morning and I put in 4 hours in the evening. See how that goes? And I take myself a nice chunk of time in the midst of the day. Hey, San Francis. So just to just doing what I do. Okay. So that's how I like to do it. For those of you who don't know, like I start my day off. My days begin at 5 a.m. I'm looking at email messages and sorting my day from there and making lists of what I'm gonna do. And I start out early, so technically when 12 noon come around, I'm almost done a whole work day. But anyway, so my lunch hour is from 12 to noon. I mean, from noon to 2. Technically, when I'm in the office, that be my lunch hours too. Because I just be like, shut down, looking for folks. A lot of things happen between that noon and 2 period. Uh, no, it's not. Listen, these work from home. The work from home gigs are up. Like the only ones that are really still holding down work from home theories are the ones that are doing like call centers and stuff like that. So they don't really participate in the work from home model. All right. So let's talk about a the couple of things going on those streets. I missed the sentencing of the Tyre Nichols cops. Let me see if I find that. That should have been yesterday, and I was looking for it, but I was also busy. Let me see what happened. Tyre Nichols. Um, it should be the sentencing. I don't know why. I don't know the officer's name, so I have to name the case by the guy. 5 days ago. So this here says sentencing dates for all 5 former Memphis Police Department officers convicted. Let me see. I don't want to play nobody's stuff. All right. So let's read. Reading is fundamental. I need a lawyer that needs someone to work, that can do the work and doesn't mind where it gets done. So the sentencing date in federal case pushed back. Let's find out why. So you see how I do my own due diligence? Ew. Ew. All right. So where's the darn article? They will now be sentenced the week of June 16th after the state murder trial, which is currently set for April. Oh, shooky now. So they got charged. Wait a minute. All right, so we're going to put so I was somewhere and this girl said we're going to put a feather in there. I was like, ooh. So we're going to put a fountain pen in that and come back to that. So we're going to have to do some due diligence there and find out what is going on. Look, that's the only sentence. Yes, that's Memphis. So it was known as the case of the piñata, right? When all those men beat that man to death and they called it the human piñata. Yeah. So so we're going to have to put a fork in that. Let me just get myself a page in my book so I could do some research and get back to y'all on one of those Mo Day morning quarterbacking. So it looks like we got a trial to look forward to in thing. So this is gonna be um the pinata. I think it was called the human pinata. Was it in 2022? Hold up, let me see. I seem to feel like I was reading it out of my notes. Is this it? Blind date with a book. See, I always have titles. Mm, mm, mm. All right, hold up. Yeah, these are my notes from 2022. Okay, I said do good with this one too. I changed my format of my books. You know how what I use because I felt like I couldn't keep the stories together, but I probably could have. I might go back to this. No, I think I liked my weeks better. Um, yeah. So, thing. Have you been Have you been looking at the ASAP case? I actually kind of love him, but I've been in. I thought you wasn't gonna watch. Well, maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was. Uh, so the answer to ASAP Rocky. That's a negative. Cause I did that. Um, I'm trying to figure out. So let's explore what I watch around here and why I watch it. I look for a legal issue in within the merits of the case that's worth discussing, right? Like in the YSL case, I was watching it, but I wasn't commenting on it until they became corrupt. It became a corrupt entity that the rest of us could see. And you just be like, so they're going to do this in a courtroom and act like we ain't watching this? Like the world ain't watching it? And honestly, what you learn from the YSL case and what you're seeing happen now across the board is they're really trying to exclude media from the courtroom, right? They don't want the independent media in the house. And you know why they don't want the independent media in the house? Because they put eyes to corruption. They put eyes to injustice, right? So they don't want people observing a process that has been extremely biased to bias in favor of the prosecution and definitely against the defendants. Um, so no. But I will tell you, I have acquired some interest in that case. And the reason why ASAP Rocky, because I saw the video of whatever was supposed to happen. And I'm like, who's on that video? Are they going to clean that up for us? Are they going to give us another angle of it? Wait a minute. Who is that stick figure standing there? Like, are they going to show us people wearing them same clothes earlier in the day like they tried to tell us in the case of, what's that rapper? Um, oh, Dolph, right? Dolph, they walked us through a timeline, right? Memphis, Tennessee. Uh, uh, but let's just say Tennessee. Walked us through a timeline of the dude wearing the same. Yo, what's up with yo? What's up in the rap community? Young men, do y'all just wear the same stuff day in, day out? Y'all just wear the same clothes? Do you have that same outfit in duplicates, triplicates, or whatever? Because in the YSL case, we saw Mr. Bumpus in an outfit, a pink hoodie for 3 days straight, even when he done crawled under a building hiding out from the popo to the low. Right? We see. Like, I I need somebody to help me understand this, right? Do y'all not like what is going on with that? So, so in the case of, let me close this in so I can seem concise and educated up here. Um, the video for ASAP Rocky is the video of the incident, whatever he's on trial for, is right there at you. I became interested the minute they said that they offered him like 5 months of incarceration versus taking it to trial, and he's facing um, many times years over that. So I'm feeling like if a person, and this is what the criminal justice system is showing us. They will barter it down to 5 months. You know what this is coming to? Anything for a conviction. As long as they either convict you or get you to plead, they'll give you nothing for something. How do you even translate saying that this is a crime that's worth 20 years of time, but I will give you 5 months if you don't take it to trial? Oh, that's very interesting. You know I'm not watching a chicken head. I can't do chicken heads. So Mr. and Mrs. Bumpus, they is out of my they off my radar. Like I'm not even checking for them because they do chicken. She does chicken head stuff, and I just can't I can't help it. And you know, people that are so constructive, right? When they try to perform to a task is just too much for me. But shout out for them if they really did help people on Martin Luther King Day, because Dr. King tried to love somebody. Do you want to love somebody? For his sake, take a day. Everybody loves somebody. All right, anyway. So back to ASAP. So those are two things. They wanted to give him a significant short period of time not to try the case, and then basically told him, if you go forward with this, you better not act like you wouldn't know what you was getting yourself into, because we're gonna go full throttle at you, sir. So I'm just like, yo, give it put your mouth where your business is. Normally though, when people do those kind of threats and those kind of packages, offerings, plea deals, whatever, it means that their case is a little bit shaky, right? Those are the ones that you will get inside the courtroom and they'll be calling the witness, and this is what they'll be doing. So let's pretend the witness name is Jay. Well, let's do Jane Doe. So we just keep it real. So, you know, keep it real with the Does, because, you know, nobody knows who Doe is. I say something else, somebody going to pop up in here and tell me that's their name, their mama name or their papa name, right? So let's just say his victim is Jane Doe. What they're going to do is they're going to go all the way to trial. They're going to start the case. They're going to do an opening statement. They're going to get their jurors, right? And then they're going to be like, Johnny Walker, Jane Doe. And then they're going to be like, Judge, our witness is not here today. So we're just going to have to close this case down, right? That's what it sounds like when you don't have when you don't have your main witness, or you don't have your people lined up. So I might be a little curious about that one. But I just don't understand how we're going to be able to tell who's who in the clothes. So I'm just figuring, like, they got to find video of him in the morning, video of him, like, so you're going to have to walk us through the day to say that, yes, this is that day, this is what he was wearing. So when you see this grainy video over here, this is him. as they did in the Dolph case. They tried to tell us that the young man, went and got the car, which seemed to be a stolen car, but anyway, went and got the car in the same clothes, went and did all his business in the same clothes, went and took his child to daycare in the same clothes, was in his elevator lobby in the same clothes, like, you understand that they try to show us where he went to his cousin's house and he changed those clothes, all of a sudden. So that's that. All right, so the Pinata case. So they're saying that the sentencing dates for all 5 former MPD officers convicted in federal. So they got to reset. Yep, so he might as well hang in there. I mean, and I think that a person's attorneys would be telling them, giving advice. PD officers. So we got 5 that were convicted on federal charges. I don't even know why they would continue to pursue a state case. But I don't know what, well, I think I know why, because I don't believe that they had got any real, I got to look and see what their convictions were in federal court, because I think some things weren't convicted. All right. Another trial that I saw, daggett, I should have wrote it down. No, I didn't. My God, Tupac. What's wrong? Now, Stevie D, or whatever his dude's name is, Keefy D. Get head on now. I didn't realize what him had done. Like I did not realize what homie did. So check this out. This what we working with Keefy D. So Keefy D, at some point, so first of all, Keefy D admitted to being inside the car that drove down the road and shot Tupac Shakur in Vegas. Yeah, 5 cops are convicted in the feds, and we'll follow up on that on a Mo Day morning quarterbacking situation. We'll just do that case in and of itself until we get to, we know that they're going to go to, the sentencing will be in June on the federal case, and they will go to trial in April on a state level. So we will follow up before April on that case. Okay, Tupac Shakur. Moving on, Keefy D. So he admitted to being in the car with 3 other people when they bust a move on Tupac, right, and took him out. So this dude actually believed he had a proffer. So we learned in the YSL trial what a proffer is. A proffer is when you go to the prosecutors and for like 24 hours, you agree to tell them everything that you know about a situation, and then they can't use it against you. So I've been led to believe throughout the years that he did a proffer, and they could not use the self-incriminating things against him later on to try him, right? And for years, they just let the whole world believe like they were still looking into this, whatever. It was like a cold case. Then the dude, Keefy D, decides to write a book. He decides to write a book, right? His life is falling apart. He's the only one left for, 3 of the deceased, right? They all met their untimely demise. And what ended up happening to little Mr. Keefy D, he wrote a book. He went on these low cast podcasts and all kinds of uh, media, new media, telling, this legendary tale, and ended up putting himself in a bind because he wrote a book. And in the book, he details activities that happened. So what they said at trial was they try to suppress going forward or ask for the case to be dismissed because he had a proffer. But there's something about when he spoke to, so he had two different entities that he spoke to. He never spoke to the DA's office, who are the only people that can offer you a proffer, right? Speaking to the police department doesn't give you no free passes, right? They don't have, so this is a word or phrase that you need to know when you need to make decisions, right? Before you open your mouth. And this is just in anything, right? You say to people, are you in a decision-making capacity? Are you authorized? If I was to come to an agreement with you today, do you have the power to say yes? I need to speak to the person that's authorized to make decisions around here. That's in everything that you do. Sometimes I could be like, right there, I need to speak to a manager. I need to speak to a person that can make this happen, Captain. Not just you. And it's not me being disrespectful. It's just I need to speak to someone who's authority, who's authorized to do something, an authority figure here, right? So Keefe D, he just sat up here, and I don't know who him was speaking to, but and I'm about sick of seeing him. Not for nothing, I don't know if I could even go to trial with him, because I'm about sick of seeing him in that blue jumpsuit. Which, if you listen to these other courtrooms, right, they say that that's highly prejudicial to have the defendant being seen on all of these preliminary hearings, pretrial hearings, in custody gear. I'll just be like, seriously? Nah. You understand? So we keep seeing him in blue. He's always standing over there. His attorney and the other attorneys are standing there facing the judge all the way over here. And he's all the way over there standing there with that big beer belly popped out, right? But we know that that's not a beer belly. We know that he's got some medical issues going on. And he can't get him addressed because he's incarcerated. Dude, you're going to die in there. At this point, you're going to die in there. You wrote a book. The judge was like, so did he write this book and publish it before or after the people died, right? You know, the co-defendants. Oh, he wrote it after their deaths. But to me, it's all fictitious at this point. Except for when he spoke to the police, back when he spoke to the police, back when he spoke to the police, when this all happened. So it's just be some information to see. So we'll be watching Keefe D because it's not that it's I might want to go to Vegas to see that myself, but I don't think my cousin will be up to going to see no court case and stuff because her got a real job. So that's another trial that I've been watching on here. Let me take y'all through my other trial watch moments. This stuff is crazy. Hold on a second. I saw some interesting tidbits. So you remember there was a case called the Adelphi case, and it's the case with two girls who got dropped off by one of their sisters at some, I just want to say abandoned property, but it's like a park or whatever, and they walked the train tracks or whatever it is. They walked the train tracks. You might have to catch up, Becky. You might be behind us a lot. You might have to hit the live button because you seem to be back there. All right, so he is now not making motion. I don't know what this is, and this is why it became interesting to me now. So, so the two young ladies were killed on the trail, right? They were teenagers, preteen age. They were very young, so you could tell I don't know too much about who they are. I know it happened in Indiana, um, and for years, they had from one of the girls' phones, they had an image of a guy who they was calling Bridge Guy. Okay, now they had interviewed several people. Initially, this guy was in the first rounds of people being interviewed, but they kept the case open, doing whatever they didn't do for several years. And every year on Valentine's Day, because that's when they were found deceased, there's this whole big hoopla that started up about it. And 3 years ago, they arrested this dude for the murder. Now he gets arrested and he is put in jail. But they decide, the people that have now held him, first of all, he worked at the local pharmacy. So everybody in the community is familiar with who this dude looks like, what this guy looks like. They had pictures of what they believe the suspect looked like posted throughout the whole town, and nobody ever thought it was this guy. Okay, so then they arrest him. They put him in jail. Come back, and the judge decides that he shouldn't be held in jail, but needs to go to be held in the prison. The prison was better capable of holding him. All right. I saw the controversy back and forth. He had some attorneys and the judge got into a fight. The attorneys got removed. They went all the way up the chain to the Supreme Court. Got put back on the case because he had a right to pick his counsel. That's why the situation with what's that guy's name? The Nelly guy, Melly, in Florida. That's why he'll get to pick his own attorney as well, right? So they got put back on the case, and even though the judge couldn't stand them or whatever, you could see that there was something wrong with that judge, something wrong in that town altogether. Anyway, the case got tried. He was found guilty. Anybody surprised? Anybody surprised there? So now I'm listening to different things that popped out of there, right? So apparently he was interviewed by some kind of psychiatrist. I don't understand. Because normally psychiatrists are not allowed to testify about what you tell them in your psyche interviews unless it's a psychiatrist for the state. So I'm wondering, they said he did some confessions and stuff when he was incarcerated. Man, we saw that guy go from a plum to a prune in weeks, between when he was being put out, his different appearances in court. They was definitely beating him and doing all kinds of stuff to him, sleep deprivation. I tell you, I did it too. On top of that, now the defense has now filed some motions or something locally about stuff being withheld and all kinds of craziness, right? Other people confess to the crime. I'm like, but the case is over. You want them to reconsider what? Why didn't you? And you are veteran attorneys. Like, what are we doing here? What's wrong? So now I'm going to be a little nosy and take myself up inside that case, all up and through there, because something just ain't right. And I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely going to be trying to find out. I'll end on politics, but it's not going to be the way people want me to end on it. So they want his but I guess you can file a motion to vacate whatever it is. Yeah, it does. Next trial that is crazy is our dude, Idaho student murderer, right? Suspect. I'm gonna be watching this now because they don't went and changed. I was always gonna be watching it. Here's the core reason why. They use the DNA from like ancestry.com or some kind of organization that many people have swabbed themselves and sent in to find out what their ancestry is and do a whole diagnostic and tell me where I come from and I'm 2% black, 8% Asian, 92% something else. Like, so they 80% this, like they, yes, Mr. Kohlberger. I wasn't really interested in him, but I've always been interested in this genealogy stuff, right? When they use when they use the DNA from your relatives to find the criminal. Now, remember when they found the last guy? It was somebody who murdered some woman, Caucasian too, okay? Murdered somebody. It was decades past, maybe a couple like 50. And they arrested this old man like 70 because they found a match in his ancestry, somebody who swabbed. And at that time, there was no option to opt out of allowing for, there was no rider in place that your DNA swabs would stay for the sole purpose of what you sent them for, right? So they gave him over to law enforcement and they found the guy convicted. Well, actually, it's not that soundproof. First, they find the family member that matches the DNA that they have from their crime scene, that matches something in here. And then they go through the rest of their investigation to figure out a suspect that has ties to the DNA that came from the ancestry.com, the geological thing. And then they watched him eat something, throw something away, a cigar, a straw, or something, and they picked it out the garbage and used that to test against their crime scene. And then they made the connect and made the arrest. But for the DNA testing, that's crazy. Confirmed my life suspicion that my father was my father. Too bad he was on his deathbed when I did. God's plan, it mine. I hear you. So crazy, okay? There's sometimes when Karen's voice just be in my head. All right, cause I gotta go to a 4:30 meeting. I do gotta wrap this up here. I'm gonna talk about the inauguration. I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about. My cousin, how are you, dear? Okay, wait a minute. The Grim Sleeper in South Central was convicted by his son's DNA. Yeah, that must have been the one. Anyway, that's the guy. Because I remember it was over there on your end of town. Okay, so let me just say this, right? Because I was here 4 years ago when Biden took office, right? We was all here when we went through COVID, right? We was all here for COVID, right? I haven't spoken on the election because I haven't wanted to alienate people for the way they voted. I don't want to be that type of person. So I'm not going to be that type of person now that we live in with the consequences, right? Because this is what happens. When people elect people, they fill those seats based on a need. One thing that's been consistent has been change. So every time you go from Jimmy Carter, he did one term. He was replaced by Bush, the first Bush, right? No, he was. I just skipped the Reagan. He was replaced by Reagan for 2 years. Then his vice president won, and he did his thing. Did he? Is that how it went? Am I telling the story right? Yes, I am. Because you know I'm not a historian, but let's just go through this. All right. So we had Jimmy Carter. I'm just going to start with him because he just died the other day. So it's a good way to start. And I know I think I know what happened between that time. We'll see how good I was in history. So Jimmy Carter, he failed to do something with the hostages, and it appeared that Reagan got them released, right? But it looks like you can't usurp one administration before it's your term. So it looks like there was something was in the works, but history at that time, the way it was being reported was just like, we got Jimmy out so we could free those 52 hostages, okay? So then in came Reagan. He did 2 terms. Then his VP came behind him. He did a term, right? He got us in some war called the 90s. That's when I was coming of age, right? Because most of my friends, guy friends, right, they went and joined the services or whatever, and then they ended up having to go fight a war. So they couldn't just go to school, go a couple years to the military, earn whatever it is, and then go to college, right? They ended up having to go fight in these wars and get, I don't know, something similar to Agent Orange. I don't remember what it was, but it was something like that. Okay. All right. So we ended up with Bush. So people didn't like that. He got us in the war. So they wanted change. So in comes Clinton with all his shenanigans, right? And we get 2 terms of Clinton. But, back in those days, people just voted for the second term just to end it. You understand? They really wasn't trying to take out nobody. They didn't really want change because they wanted, and they knew once they got over those 4 years, they just got over it. Like, this coming back thing that Donald Trump did is just like, dude, you don't know how, you like a fly. You don't know how to get out of here, but unfinished business, because they normally finish it up in the second term, right? So we get Clinton for 2 years, two terms, right? Who came after Clinton? So now it's time for change, and we end up with the stolen election, and this is where the stuff went bad, right? When we had Hanging Chad and Dimple Chad, and everything was lying down there in the state of Florida, and the election went to Bush, right? People got over that, and we moved on, and we had 2 years of Bush, and Bush put us in another war. He finished off what his father started, 8 years before then, right? We was looking for things of mass destruction. So when I see him at the funeral and I see him sitting there, I just like, this is the guy that was looking for weapons of mass destruction that made Saddam Hussein go hide in a hole somewhere under the ground and took a sovereignty, right, wherever Iran was, whatever he ran, Iran, Iraq, whatever it was that Saddam Hussein was at, and showed us how destructive and mean those people really were. They needed somebody like Saddam. Like, imagine if those people in South Korea didn't have Chung Kyung Kim Chung, if they didn't have him, right? Imagine what they would be like if they was let loose. So, well, he didn't take him down. That was supposed to, allegedly, that was supposed to be the other dude, Osama bin Laden. who that they gave him for years weapons to go weapons to go and get the Russians and have a whole war with the Russians, whatever, whatever. All right, so we done went from Clinton, and then we get to Bush, right? Because people weren't interested in change. They just let him finish it out. He started it, let him finish that, right? So after Bush, we go to Obama, right? Ain't that where we got Obama? Yep, so Obama came in. And people saw, I don't know what it was. They saw something. But we got Obama. Then we got Obama again, right? Because I think there was a season of hope. And then there was another season. Yeah. I didn't like what they did to Saddam. And I actually went looking for the footage, and I will never forget how they decapitated him. He was standing there on that thing, and he was talking. They was putting that thing over his head. I guess he was like, I'm going to get y'all in hell when I get that. That's it. Head off. I saw that. That was crazy, okay? That was just crazy. It was like out of some 8th world country, not even like some 3rd world. It was like some 8th world country. Like, you would never believe that you saw that. I saw that. I can't unsee it. I've seen it for the rest of my life. All right, so we had Clinton. Who came after Clinton? Bush. Then we go back to Obama. Okay. Because the parties are now getting old. If you remember Bush's wife, right? So that's going to be the mother of Bush, the little Bush, the son. She said, so the only people that are going to be running this country is going to be our peoples? No, we don't need to. They need to be building up candidates. Failure to build up candidates is why you have the situations that you have right now. So you go through 2 years of Obama. He wasn't building candidates either. He may have endorsed the chick that ran this year, but and I'm saying chick, not to diminish her, but just I am probably diminishing her because it wasn't significant enough. You didn't care about the voter. You cared about an entity over the people. And until the Democratic Party understands that they're catering to an entity over the needs of the people, even when I hear their commentary today, as we're like 3 days or 4 days into this man's presidency, right? They're still on the same rhetoric. But they've forgotten that the majority, right, the plurality, whatever they want to talk, they voted for that man. How is that even possible, right? They're still working from a position of not understanding what has happened to them. They're not working from any position of strength. You see some people acquiescing to power because they understand that now they got to get along to get, some people get it. They're up here throwing daggers, shutting down news stations of anybody that is trying to bridge a gap because you need to be in it to win it. They done took offense and everything else. So you're just watching them fall apart. But the people told you what they wanted. As to Obama, which was a go-getter, a person that was out there doing the work of the people while he was the vice president, working those deals up inside the Senate, like he was still in the Senate when he was the vice president. She probably might have had a different outcome had they not just try to throw her down people's necks by openly just saying, hey, we're gonna throw him overboard. We don't want him no more because he seems like he's not functioning. He don't got all his capacities up there, right? So we're gonna toss him out because we want her, right? Had they not taken the liberty to do that so openly, they wouldn't be in the position that they in right now. They should have always identified that Biden might not make it through, and they should have ran appropriately in the start. You look weak when you run these plays at the end of the day, and that's what ended up happening. So now we are living in that result. Notice, we're living in that state. Now you have to come up with policies that you present to people who are disenfranchised, because what's going to happen is going to be the same cry that happened when we had COVID. They're going to see that an administration cannot handle the work of the people, and somebody's going to have to step up and do it. So this is a season, these people came back to get what they didn't get. They're like the looters. He was going out, and I'm sorry for those who support Donald Trump, but I'm just sorry, right? The man lost an election. He rallied up his people to go in there and take it by any means necessary. And they did. And they didn't care if they was going to burn the sucker down. You know how they be like, burn them, you know, like that song? Them people was ready to do it. So that's sad. And you know, it's just it's sad, it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of it. They walked in that White House January 20th, 2025, finishing up everything, snatching down everything. They don't care about none of that ceremonial stuff. They want to finish what they started. And they ain't even got no time now to be playing no games, because they ended up getting both of the decision-making facilities that'll help them carry out their deeds. So y'all got to sit around, for 24 months of this. 24 months. And then hopefully you will elect people to represent you in the House of Representatives and in the House of Representatives and in the Senate that can balance the executive branch out. That's the only way forward at this moment. And then 4 years out or 3 years out, we'll talk about and see what people got going on. But for right now, y'all just got to sit back and watch these people take what they're going to take. Destroy, dismantle whatever things that they despise. See, what happens when you have this petty power? When you have this petty power, you come to a position where there are people that see the power and they just want a piece of it for a small period of time. But they don't know what it means. It's like, envision this. Everybody want to be the leader of something. They want to be, or no, picture this. In a company, everybody wants to make the big bucks that the person on the top makes. But they don't want to have the consequences of the person on the top. Those are some big shoes to fill. So, and I'm not saying I got to look now at all these executive orders. You know, we did have a training on the impact of DEI being removed, right? But first you got to understand what that meant. You got to understand who it impacted before you can scream from the rafters that it's something that shouldn't be taken apart, or it's something that, you know, you have to look at the policies in place and really understand what they mean beyond the political rhetoric behind it. Because people just think of DE and I programming, right, as a form of affirmative action, which it isn't. it has